This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I'm absolutely thrilled to be speaking with an incredible character actor, the one and only Jeremy Pereira.
My platoon was ambushed. King Tiger came out of the woods, took everyone out. These men, these are all we got. Sir, I want to fight back. I owe my men that. I owe myself that.
No. I'm losing no more men on my watch. Get your platoons off the line. Pull out in 30. Yes, sir.
Hello, Jeremy, how are you?
I'm doing well, Will. How are you?
Jeremy, doing so much better now that we're finally talking. And, I have to just start out by saying, for someone who's so young, the first thing that I realized from you in reading about you is how unapologetic you were in calling yourself a character actor. Some of my favorite actors are true character actors. So it didn't surprise me when you said it, because you're so talented. I'm curious to know, who were your idols growing up? Did you have any North Stars of actors and actresses growing up for you, Jeremy?
Oh, Will, absolutely. Yeah. I grew up in California till I was 17 and did not start acting until I moved to the Chicagoland. And I moved to Wheaton, Illinois when I was 18 years old. And that year, The Dark Knight came out with Heath Ledger. And Heath Ledger had inspired me a lot when I was younger with other films, but then The Dark Knight and seeing his work on The Dark Knight as the Joker really inspired me to begin acting. I started doing impressions of his Joker in my basements, just randomly for all my 2 YouTube fans. and they started to take a look at those. It grew to maybe, a total of 10 YouTube fans, and that was pretty much it. But then Hollywood.com reached out because they were looking for a bunch of different people in the 2009 Oscars campaign for impression artists, people that could do things of the 2009 Oscar, winners or nominees. And they saw my Joker and they said, "Can we use it?" And I said, "Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would love for you to use my Joker of Heath Ledger's." And it was about a year of doing just that in my basement. I was a fanboy. I mean, Heath Ledger blew my mind with his work on that role. And, so I began to do those impressions. They saw the video, said, "Let's get that up on the site." Small potatoes, but I thought, this is really what I want to do. I want to be a character actor. I want to be someone that produces characters and things that are sometimes not always noticed at first. I mean, character actors, it's kind of a interesting term because it's people that can absorb into roles that are not necessarily of themselves, but also, yeah.
And not to interrupt you, but I think that, being a director myself, a performer myself for 20 years before going into directing, I think that there's sometimes a negative connotation when it comes to character actor. People might perceive it as more like a caricature actor, where actually a character actor comes from, as we know, someone who really envelops and disappears. You look at some of our greatest character actors of today. The late great Heath Ledger was one. You look at Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Meryl Streep. These are people who disappear into roles. And I'm curious to know, Jeremy, your journey from Chicago back to Los Angeles, what that was like for you and why you decided to make that leap back home, dare I say.
Yeah, absolutely. So lot of that was actually family. A lot of my family's back home here, and took that leap back because I'm close to my folks and my family, and it was time. It was 12 years of Chicago, and I thought there's a lot more presence here with what I'm trying to do, and so I just made that move. A lot of it was due to family. I'm a people person. And I think a lot of that comes with the territory of understanding characters. I'm
Yeah.
very, very developed and interested in people's lives. A lot of my biggest moments in Chicago were actually working in self-help groups for adults and people with disabilities. So doing that helped me to truly understand what it took also to become developed into personalities and characters. So I'm a people studier.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I mean, you hear about all of our great actors of all time, and they were observers. They wanted to know what made certain humans tick. And, selfishly for me, my husband works with individuals living with autism. So when I hear you about your work with individuals with disabilities, it warms my heart. Obviously, such an amazing group of people, oftentimes overlooked, but yet an incredible group of people whose abilities
Yeah,
are incredible. I'm curious to know, just deep diving into that a little bit more,
yeah.
how your work with individuals with disabilities has helped add tools to your tool belt and arsenal as an actor.
Absolutely. I think a lot of it comes with, there was, when I was working on my community college, I met a couple people that had Down syndrome, and they are the most joyful, beautiful people that are alive today. And it's just incredible to me that there's no hard feelings, there's no barriers of, disrespect. It's just, I got connected with James. James was an individual in the Chicagoland area who showed me a lot about myself. He actually gave more to me than I gave to him. And it taught me a lot about myself, about what is important and how to drive into performances as far as how to treat people. Because I think a lot of actors today get a misunderstanding of what it means to truly develop into a character, because it can take selfishness, it can take a little too much of themselves. So, for me, it was more along the lines of, being able to just spend time with people. And James, his mother had passed away when he was young, and he was watched by his father. I'm a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer. So you say young, I'm 33. I still feel super young. Um, he We meet at the same area at my community college, and I didn't start driving until I was like 23. So my family, my other family out there, would pick me up and take me back home. And one day, after about a week of just sitting down with him next to him, he said, "Why don't you come over to my house? Come over to my house. I want to meet you to meet my parents." And so I met his dad and his stepmom, and his dad was, dealing with a lot then, and blah blah blah. Long story short, I thought it'd be nice to spend some time with him. So every day after school in my community college, I would spend my day with James, and he loved wrestling. He loved Hannah Montana. He loved things that were just so simple, and it gave me so much joy. And I really felt connected to him. And so working with him made me understand. So I'm going into performances and acting and all this stuff, but it's also giving me a really good outlet to also survive in that field, because it's really stressful. Like, you can do this, but you also have to be humble and grounded. You have to be able to understand that there's a balance of, understand, and that comes with the same trait. If I'm making sense here,
Oh,
sorry.
Jeremy, you're making perfect sense. And I want to chime in by saying that you're a perfect example of someone who's so young, but understands that it not only takes craft, something I think a lot of young actors miss because of this fast-paced world of reality shows and competitions. But
Yes.
you're in it for the long haul, and you're gonna look at, if there's one thing I'm proud of, or I can brag about, is I have really good instincts on talent. I've been very fortunate in my young career as a director to work with some of the best theater actors in New York because of my instinct. You you have it. You have it because I think not only of your commitment to your craft, but you truly realizing that you've been put on this planet for a reason as a vessel to
Yeah.
tell stories.
Yes.
And not only that, I don't ever see you leaving this humble, grounded nature because of not only your love of the art, but your love of people. And again, dissecting and peeling back the onion of what makes people tick, what makes them different, and celebrating those differences with authenticity and truth. I mean, you're speaking my language. I could go on a rant about how I feel about you and your art. And however, before I ask my final question, I do want to just remind the audience, for more on the incredible Jeremy Pereira, you can read more about him right below this video. Jeremy, I want to, I have so many other questions I want to ask, but there's one in particular that's been haunting me, is in looking ahead. These past 2 years have been traumatic for everyone,
Yeah.
but in looking ahead, what are you most optimistic about in terms of the business of acting and of entertainment? And two, where you see yourself in the next year, 5 years, 10 years from now?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for asking that. For me, it's part of the journey and enjoying it. I see myself performing more, as a character actor through different productions, how I can insert myself into different roles. Over the next 5 years, yes, these last 2 years have been completely cluttered with just disorder. Mine being, the lower end spectrum. I'm blessed with a good family and a good home, to be able to stay at home during these times. A lot of people are suffering, and it's been really hard. And so digging back into people, digging back into understanding characters through getting back out into the world more. A lot of my observance with people has been just spending time. I'm a social person, I'm a social butterfly, so just spending more time with people. And now's the time. I think we're getting more to that place lately, with safety. And so for me, seeing myself from 5 years from now, I feel equipped more with understanding what it takes to get there, and inserting myself into a position where I need to do things for myself as well. And I think it's really hard sometimes when you're focused so much on people that you forget to take care of yourself. So it's
Yeah.
just being, and this is an honest thing that I'm saying. It's just like I've had the opportunity to work on some projects with feature films coming out recently with Dolph Lundgren. It also stars a bunch of other great talent, and I had a chance to co-star in that film called well, there was a couple different war films I've done, but that was Come Out Fighting. And I'm very excited to see that film. So some of my biggest work was war films. So I'm still interested in the war aspect. And they brought me on board some of these films basically because of my ability to feel emotion. I am an empathetic, I have empathy and joy in my heart. So the characters that they put me in these films with typically are that. But I've also played some villainous roles, but you have to understand sort of the character opposite you when you're
Well,
acting.
I mean, we're going to connect after this interview. I find you incredibly fascinating as both a human and an actor. And I think it's the dichotomy between this beautiful vessel that you happen to be born into, plus the fact that you have this emotional capacity of, and Heath Ledger. I mean, what a great person, be a North Star for you, right? But what,
100%.
and what you have that he has, and so many of our great character actors of all time have, is that the minute you see them in that first shot, you root for them, whether they're the villain or the hero. There's a rootability factor about you that's undeniable. And listen, we're going to talk off screen some more, but I want to again thank you so much for your time today. Excited you're coming on board this amazing new social media app,
Yeah.
Phoenix 360.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. No, Phoenix 360, it's amazing. There's so many different aspects of Phoenix 360 that I'm wanting to get more part of. And there's so much there that's pretty exciting. And, I uploaded last night another video. Actually, I had my old video there, one of the war things, then I re-uploaded to a new clip of it, but yeah.
Oh, amazing. So everyone log on. I'm gonna put your share app link to your direct FENIX360 profile that people can add to their very own tablet home screen, and right below this video. And again, it is so wonderful to meet you, Jeremy, and thank you so much for your time today.
Bless you and your husband and what he's doing as well.
Thank you.